Hello, welcome to the FFCRA presentation with CRES today. Thank you all very much for joining. We are just waiting for a number of additional attendees to join, and we will get started in just a moment. Hello, and welcome to the FFCRA webinar. Very much appreciate you joining today. My name is David Allen. We'll be getting started in just a moment, just waiting for additional attendees to join. We'll give them another minute and we will get started. So again, very much appreciate your patience and look forward to sharing with you how you can access this last remaining coronavirus COVID relief money. And honestly, the fact that this money is still available and it is going away, actually half of it's going away in a few weeks, the other half is going away in a year, and we want our industry to get as much of this free money as possible. And so we very much appreciate you joining this webinar to get an understanding of how you can access these funds. So we'll be getting started in a moment. And as we're going through, we're also going to play an animated video for you that really takes you through the whole process of applying for your FFCRA credits. I really actually don't like using the word apply because there's no approval process. As long as you are an independent contractor, then you're eligible. Excuse me. Would you mind reading that question?
Yeah, how long is the webinar?
Figure it's going to be about 30 minutes. We'll move through it pretty quickly and hit the most important points, which really are: how do you apply? How long does it take for you to get the money? Are you really eligible? And what do you need to do? We're going to answer those questions, and actually we're going to get started right now. So hello, my name is David Allen. I'm with Adesso 360, and we have partnered with CRES to assist everyone in our industry in accessing what is the last remaining COVID relief funds that are available. Many of you are familiar with the PPP, or the Payroll Protection Program, which was a forgivable loan. You're also probably familiar with ERC, which was tax credits for businesses. Well, we are so happy to be able to share with you that money is available for our industry, for independent contractors. And this is, and again, I hate using these words, but it's such an accurate statement. This is free money for anyone that files or filed as an independent contractor in 2020 or 2021 is eligible to receive up to $32,200 in the last remaining COVID relief funds. This is part of the CARES Act, and this is money that is available for you, and if you don't take it, it just goes away. Obviously, we all are interested in giving extra money to the government. So for those of you that ultimately choose not to participate, not to file, out of the goodness of your heart to give the government extra money, I find a lot of, a lot of sense in that. On the other hand, we also know how difficult it was for our industry in 2020 and 2021. So for that reason, I implore you to file and get the maximum that is available to you. And so as I continue on in this presentation, I will share with you the most important date, and that is April. In April, half of the self-employed tax credit, FFCRA, goes away. I'm going to repeat that. 50% of the tax credit, 2020, goes away after, I'll say, April 1st. So please don't lose half of the money that is available to you, because after April, you can only apply for 2021. But if you apply now, you get both years. That is so incredibly important. So let's talk about what FFCRA is. So first and foremost, it's a tax credit. And the government, in their ultimate wisdom, decided that anyone that was a self-employed individual in 2020 or 2021 can be treated as if they were an employee of the federal government. So yes, that's right. If you filed a Schedule SC, which is what independent contractors file, and you had positive net income, you are actually eligible to get sick days and family care days. And let me explain to you what that means. In 2020 and 2021, we were all very, very sensitive to if we had COVID, if we came in contact with somebody who had COVID, maybe if we were even concerned that COVID was in the general vicinity of where we were told to go and isolate for 10 days. There's no doctor's notes. There is no confirmation. There is simply your honesty that you went home and you isolated for a period of time because you were told that that's what you were supposed to do. And that's how you are able to decide and choose your sick days. Now, as it pertains to family care days, you must have children. That is a requirement. So for those of you that no longer have children living at home because they are grown, or if you do not have children, you are only eligible for the sick days portion of FFCRA. But for the most of you that do have children, you are eligible for the full amount. And that full amount includes not just the sick days, but the family care days. So anybody that had a child that was homeschooled, you get to get paid for those days. And that's what FFCRA is. And again, it's known by FFCRA or SETC, the self-employed tax credit. Now, I'm going to play a video for you now, and this is going to go through the process of actually applying.
The FFCRA is a federal program that compensates eligible self-employed individuals for up to 130 days of missed work due to COVID-related issues. This is not a loan, but a refund on taxes you have already paid in 2020 or 2021, up to $32,220. The IRS issues this as a tax credit. Just hearing about this? We're not surprised. 80% of self-employed individuals are unaware of the FFCRA benefits or are intimidated by the process. Filing with the IRS can be challenging, so let us do it for you. Welcome to the Adesso 360 portal. Here, you'll apply for your FFCRA tax credits. We'll take care of amending your tax returns and submitting your application to the IRS so you can get back to doing what matters most, growing your business. Start your application and pause at your convenience. First, enter the dates you are unable to work due to COVID-related concerns. For example, your child's school was closed or went virtual due to COVID lockdowns, or you experienced COVID-like symptoms. It is up to you to make sure the information you enter is accurate. To estimate your tax credit, Provide how much you earned as a self-employed individual in 2020 and 2021. It's time to verify your identity. Take a picture of the front and back of your government-issued ID. Then take a selfie to verify it's really you. Next, provide your mailing address and job information. Remember, 2020 refunds can only be issued as a check by the IRS, so make sure the address you list is correct. The IRS also requires your Social Security number to file your application. Don't worry, we use the highest level of encryption to protect your personal data. To amend your taxes, double-check the data you provided is correct. Then add your signature to Tax Information Authorization 8821 form required by the IRS. Your FFCRA tax credits will then be calculated within 48 hours. Once you have received your FFCRA calculation, enter any dependents you included when filing your 2020 and 2021 taxes, as well as spousal information if you filed jointly. You will also be notified if your spouse qualifies for FFCRA tax credits. The FFCRA attestation is your official statement to the IRS explaining why you qualify for FFCRA relief. Most of this information will be pre-populated, but we'll need a few more details, including the names of the individuals you cared for, names of your healthcare providers, and names of the schools or places of care that were closed because of COVID. Certify and sign. Then the ADESO agreement. This form gives us the authority to submit your amended tax documents on your behalf to the IRS. Select from our easy and flexible payment options. You've made it to the last step, e-signing your amended documents. Once you've signed the forms, we'll complete your FFCRA application, request your signature, and submit to the IRS. All you have to do is wait. Your 2020 FFCRA refund will be issued directly from the IRS as a check to the mailing address on file. Your 2021 FFCRA refund can be issued as a check or deposited directly into your provided bank account from the IRS. The IRS's current processing timeline for refunds can take up to 20 weeks. That's it. We'll send an email indicating your entire FFCRA package has been uploaded to your portal for download at your convenience. Thank you for choosing ADESO 360.
So that was pretty informative, but I do want to share with you a couple of modifications. In the ID verification, we have been able to remove the selfie. So actually all that's needed is the front and back of your ID, and that's it. So that certainly makes it considerably easier. And then, was there anything else that modified? No? So great. So basically, you see how simple it is to apply. And that is the key. You get started in the process and don't let yourself get stuck in any one stage. That is the key element here. Okay, and I'm going to repeat the statement here because we have this slide, because we get this question all the time, even after we do these webinars, and people say, am I eligible? And remember, as long as you filed a Schedule SE, which is what a self-employed individual submits, and you have a positive net income, you are absolutely eligible. Whether you're going to get $5,000 back or $25,000 back or the full $32,000 back, you are eligible. And let me tell you how you can double down. Many people have significant others, joint filers, that are also independent contractors. Well, that enables you to get not just $32,200, but literally another $32,200. So you can double the amount. So even if you're not getting the max and you're only getting 10, well, your joint filer might be getting 15 or 20, or maybe they're getting the max. So there is a lot of money out there for you and your joint filer. And what happens is that we know, because we're pulling tax returns, we know if your joint filer is an independent contractor as well. And we'll talk about that in just a moment, because we do want to talk about who qualifies. Because we all know that our industry, the real estate industry, is perfect for this. We're all independent contractors. We all file Schedule SEs, and most of us have a nice amount of net income, which makes us eligible for this return. But in addition to that, many of us have significant others that are also independent contractors, maybe not in the real estate space. Maybe they are a consultant, or they are a gig worker. Maybe they are an Uber driver. There are so many areas that denote someone being an independent contractor or self-employed individual. And that is a key element. So it's not just you as a real estate agent, it's you and anybody else that files as a self-employed individual. Now, let's talk about how you claim your funds. And what we're going to do is actually go through the process, because it's pretty easy, as you saw in the video. First, you're going to go in, you're going to click the link to get started within the portal. When you get started in the portal, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to set up your email address and your password so that you can come back in if you don't complete the process in the first go around, which you won't, because there's literally day one and then day two, and you're going to need to log back in for day two. But once you've created your username and password, please don't stop there. Remember, you are at the literally end of year one, 2020. And when that expires in less than a month, in just a few weeks, you'll only be eligible for 2021. So don't miss that date. So once you've created your username and password, there are going to be sliders. And those sliders are going to enable you to see how much you're going to be eligible for. So you're going to choose what your range is, the amount of net income you have, and based on that and the sliders, it's going to tell you how much money you should anticipate. The next step is really such a critically important step, and that is your date selection. Now remember, for sick days, you should be choosing the maximum number of days for 2020 and 2021. Now, not if you actually weren't sick, but there were very few people who weren't required to quarantine because they knew somebody who was sick, or they felt like they were sick, because that's all that was required during COVID days. So you should be choosing the maximum number of days for when you were sick. And the way that the platform, the portal has been set up is you don't have to click on each day. You can click a range, because it's more than probable if you went home and you were quarantining for 10 days, you're going to choose the first day and the last day. And it's going to add up those full 10 days that you quarantined. So that's on sick days. Next, family care days. You should also be choosing, as long as you have children. And by the way, if you're taking care of an elderly person, as long as they are identified as a dependent, then you can claim them as well. But they do need to be identified as a dependent.
What if the kids are too young for school, between the ages of 1 and 3?
Would you address that?
If the kids are not yet in school, but require a nanny or any assistance at all in caring for children, whether they go to a nursery school, a daycare center, or even a nanny comes to the home, if their schedule has been disrupted due to COVID, due to the lockdowns, then you're eligible to claim those days.
Really, really important. Thank you. So again, going through and choosing the calendar days. Don't go away from this and come back. I strongly recommend you don't do that, because you don't want to miss out again on a full year in 2020. So complete the dates. Choose the dates that you were home. Choose the dates that you were watching your children. Now, if you applied for unemployment, you can't, quote unquote, double dip. So you can log into the EDD and print out all the dates that you applied for unemployment, and just make sure you're not choosing the same dates. It's really fairly simple. Now, you have to do an ID verification, as you saw in the video. But again, it's just a front and back picture of your ID. Next is what we call the verification fee. Now, that's a bit of an oxymoron, because this $150 fee that you pay is credited back to you at the end of the process. The reason why we charge $150 here is because we are actually pulling your 2020 and 2021 tax returns. And so we'll tell you at the end of day one, based upon the net income you put in and the number of days that you chose, how much you're going to be getting back. So let's say it says you're going to be getting back $28,500. Well, within 48 hours of you making that verification payment, that $150, we will have pulled your tax returns, and then we send you an email. And it says, congratulations, you are actually getting back. And in many cases, it's exactly the same amount that you were already given. But if there was more net income or less net income than you had, then the amount that you are shown will be modified. And that's within 48 hours. And once you've gotten that, now is the opportunity for you to complete the process. So there are a few things that you need to do, a few, I'll call them homework items. And then once that's done, it comes to the fee portion. And you do need to pay the fee to complete the process. And there are three options in completing the fee. One is you can just pay that 20% fee in full, and you can complete that through the PayPal link on the platform. The other option is also through PayPal, and it's what is called PayPal Pay in 4. And so they split up the payment with 0 interest into 4 payments every 2 weeks. Lastly, also through PayPal, we have a financing option. And the financing option is 6, 12, and 24 months. And I really happen to like this the best, because even if you get the full amount, the $32,200, your fee, 20% fee, is only going to be a little over $100 a month, with the first payment being 30 days after you're approved. So you're going to make 2, maybe 3 payments before you get your refund back from the IRS. And then you get to choose, do I pay off PayPal, or do I just continue to make that $100, $125 payment and just take all that money? It's entirely up to you. So once you have made that payment, now you just sit back and wait to get your money. Now, what's nice is in 2 to 4 weeks, you can actually log onto the IRS website and see the progress of your application. In addition to that, because for 2021, we're electronically filing, it's usually not taking 20 weeks. It's taking our clients 8, 10, 12 weeks to get their money. So again, the importance of getting this done now so you don't miss a year. But also, we don't want you to get stuck in the process because you're considering that $150 payment. As long as you filed a Schedule SE and have positive net earnings, you're going to get that money. So make that $150 payment, wait those 48 hours, complete the process, make that PayPal payment, and then just sit back and wait, because you will get that refund. And again, our industry is getting some of the highest refunds that we're seeing, in the high 20s, in the low 30s consistently. So with that, let me simply finalize this before we jump into questions with, is FFCRA real? Not only is it real, but it can be found directly on the IRS website. Now, if you go in and type in FFCRA into Google, it's going to tell you all about the program that has expired for employees, because that's originally what FFCRA was. However, it was modified by the Biden administration to include self-employed individuals. So now employed individuals, W-2 individuals, are not eligible. Only people who file a Schedule SE and have positive net earnings. And again, our industry couldn't be more perfect for this. So if I can ask for some questions to be read so we can address those.
Absolutely. First one from Kathy. I don't have children, but had a parent I claimed as a dependent. Would that count?
Yes, it would. If you are claiming that parent as a dependent, you absolutely are eligible for the family care days as well.
Sarah had asked, will we know the amount of FFCRA we will be getting once we fill out the application or file?
So yes, you actually know the amount a few different times during the process. You first know the amount with the sliders. Based upon the range of your net income and the sliders, you are given an idea of what your amount is. But then when you actually make the choices for the dates, it will tell you at the end of day one how much you're getting back. So you will know how much you're going to be getting before you make that 20% payment.
Can you please clarify 130 days? Is that 130 days per year?
I'm going to let you address that.
Well, for 2020 and for 2021, everybody is allowed 10 sick days for 2020 and for 2021. However, for 2020, everybody is allowed up to 50 family care days. And then for 2021, you can have up to 60 family care days.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
How do I know if I filed a Schedule SE?
Well, many people actually will either review their tax returns and they can see in their schedules they have a Schedule SE, or they pick up the phone and they call their CPA and just to confirm they filed a Schedule SE. But more often than not, if you are an independent contractor, you filed a Schedule SE.
As long as you have earned a minimum of $400 as self-employed income, it's self-employed income. As long as you've earned at least $400, then you're required by the IRS to submit a Schedule SC. So it's very possible as well that in your tax filing, you may not have known, but that was most likely filed for you as well if your net income exceeded $400 as self-employed income.
Such an important point, and Josh, I'm so glad that you made that. So anybody that made over $400 as an independent contractor doing anything has filed a Schedule SE.
So David, a great question from Jody here. The video said that the process takes 3 weeks, but the credit will be reduced to 50% by then. I will add, will be reduced substantially because 2020 will no longer be able to be claimed. Is there a way to get everything submitted before the credit is reduced?
So the answer is absolutely yes. And that 3-week time frame has just been the average amount of time that it's taken people who have started the process to finalize and finish the process. But in reality, it shouldn't take more than a few days. Once you start the process, you should be able to get through, we'll call it day one, in a matter of 15, 20 minutes. And day two is that or even less. So yes, you should absolutely be able to complete the process in a matter of days.
Another question here is regarding the calendar and selecting the dates. For this particular individual with the question, she does not have any dependents and is unclear as to what days she can select for her sick days, for her own personal sick days, because she doesn't have a record. Can you address that, please?
Absolutely. And so, by the way, the only restriction that you would have is if you filed for unemployment, you couldn't choose unemployment days and sick days as well. But then it is on the honor system. And what you should do is you should simply take a look at your calendar and determine when you probably isolated at home. And it may have happened multiple times. But again, because you were recommended by the government to quarantine for 10 days, and there's only 10 days of sick days for 2020 and 2021, you should do your absolute best to determine when you needed to isolate and then choose those days.
Will the 4 payments be with 0 interest, or will the 4 payments with 0 interest be completed prior to me receiving my check from the IRS?
What a great question. Because it's taking 8, 10, 12 weeks for the credits to be sent or deposited to the clients, it is possible that you have already made 4 payments prior to receiving that. Then again, maybe you'll have only made 3 payments. We really can't tell you that. The only thing that I can tell you definitively is that the 4 payments works when the fee is under $1,500.
Another question that came up for this individual, they have a PIN code with the IRS to pull their tax return. And her question is, do we need that PIN code? And I will add any additional information from all clients, from all applicants in order to pull their tax transcript.
Actually, all we need is your authorization, because what we do is we actually build your tax return. We are provided with all of the data, and we then create the tax return with all of the necessary information. And so we don't need your PIN code. We don't need anything special from you except for your authorization for us to pull or quote unquote build your tax return so we have all of the accurate data.
So another great question from Jordan here. Why pay you and not have my CPA fill this out for me at their hourly rate and not pay 20%?
Great question. And you absolutely can use your CPA. But there's a reason why we have so many CPAs that have us supporting all of their clients. And it's because we're the experts. So we know how to make sure, A, that our clients maximize their return. That's first and foremost. Second of all, we are electronically filing 2021, which substantially expedites the payments. So instead of 15, 20 plus weeks, our average right now is 8, 10, 12 weeks. So that would be the reason why we would recommend that you do it through us, because we have an incredibly easy process. We have done thousands, tens of thousands, and there's nobody that has a greater expertise in FFCRA.
Is the $150 fee per year and 20% of our refund?
So that $150 fee is actually credited back towards that 20% fee. It is only a one-time expense that we charge so that we know that if we pull your tax returns and you didn't have accurate information about having positive net income or about filing a Schedule SE. As long as you have positive net income and have filed a Schedule SE, we know definitively that you're going to be eligible to receive a credit.
From Sarah, I can't qualify for 2020 because I had a loss, but I do have positive earnings for 2021. Can I file for only 2021?
Absolutely, yes. And that is such an important point, because there were many people that had real struggles in 2020 and they saw things turn around in 2021, which is absolutely fine as long as you had positive net income in either one or both years.
Another question here from Kevin. My child was in college when COVID started, then had to move home when in-person classes were canceled for the semester. Can he be claimed in FFCRA?
I'll let you address that one.
So the answer is absolutely, absolutely yes. They can be claimed. A dependent of yours, whether in preschool or college, you can claim them on your FFCRA.
Thank you.
Another question here: will this increase our chances of being audited by the IRS?
So one thing has absolutely nothing to do with another. When the CARES Act was passed and this money was made available for independent contractors, it is simply a credit towards the income that you have received. It in no way puts a light on you to receive any type of audit. You are simply eligible to receive this tax credit because you are a self-employed individual with positive net earnings.
What if 2020 and 2021 were your best years only? I apologize, didn't understand the question here. Can you please explain the calculation for FFCRA?
Sure, and I think the best way for you to determine how much you're going to get is based upon 30% of your net income. Now, that's certainly not a guarantee because it determines, you know, you have, do you have children? Did you stay home for the full 10 days in 2020 and 2021? And so there are a number of things that play into that. Go ahead, Josh.
Will I be taxed on the credit in my 2024 tax return?
Go ahead and ask you to.
Well, the question is, will they be taxed? Will they owe taxes based on the return that they receive here?
So the answer is no. There is no taxation on these funds. It is a refund, and you are not taxed on this refundable amount.
I am set up as an LLC. So does that mean that I am not eligible? I am not seeing a Schedule SE.
Really great question, and thank you. Because those single owner LLCs, your CPAs could have filed a Schedule SE or they could not have. And it just depends on how your CPA filed your taxes. So again, if you own an LLC, you very well may have filed a Schedule SE. You need to check your taxes or check with your CPA.
From Brenda, what number, she means a dollar amount, what number are they looking for on income on the Schedule C? Is that line 31? And that answer is yes. Yes, it is the net income stated on line 31. A few more questions are still rolling in here right now as well. Jordan had asked, where is the link to start the application? And the link to start the application on the CRES website. Jordan, would you read the domain off?
I'll put that in the chat as well. And the domain is cresinsurance.com/tax credit.
Great.
Bear with me just a moment as we still have a few more questions still rolling in. If my kids had to go to virtual school for the remainder of 2020, do those count as family care days?
Absolutely, they do. If they were not in school and they were at home, then those are absolutely family care days.
Great. That looks like that may be it. We'll see if a few more questions are still rolling in here right now. Please feel free to enter any additional questions you may have if they have not already been answered.
You know, while we're waiting on that, I want to say that our industry, the real estate industry, is such a prime industry for this refund. Our average income is higher, and there's such a large percentage of us that have dependents, which just makes us eligible for the maximum amount of refund. And the fact that so many of our significant others are also agents or also file a Schedule SE, so many applicants are seeing $40,000, $50,000+ because of themselves and their joint filers. And that's a lot of money. And I just want you all to remember, if you don't file for this, you are basically saying, here, government, you need this money more than I do. which is very nice of you, but not recommended.
There's another question here from John. Do you provide phone support? And the answer is yes, we do provide phone support. We will provide you with the phone number, but what is recommended is that you click on the link and schedule a time. And one of our representatives will meet you at that time. Gladly have a call and address any of the questions you may have.
Right, very, very important. And they will literally walk you through the process if that's what's needed.
And take one final question here. Hopefully we're covering everything. Well, a couple more questions. First one, do mandatory lockdown days count?
Absolutely, they do. Absolutely, and we all had them, and those definitely count.
And I think that that concludes the is financing available for the 20% fee?
And you know what? I think that's a great question to finish with. We've partnered with PayPal because everybody knows who they are. We all have confidence in them, and they're providing the financing, either the pay in 4 option or the 6, 12, and 24-month option, so that you only pay a small amount on a monthly basis. Any additional questions?
I believe that most of them are pretty much the same, and please they can reach out with any.
Excellent. So again, I thank you all so much for participating today, and please don't miss out. Get started, go through the process, complete the first day on the first day that you do it, so that you make sure that within 48 hours, you're getting the actual amount you're going to be receiving, and then completing the process so you get your refund. So again, thank you all so much, and look forward to helping you as you complete this process and supporting your requirements. Thank you again. I'm going to stick around for just a little while and answer a few more questions. So please go ahead, Josh.
Is the income used the net on the Schedule C, the adjusted gross, or the taxable income?
So it is line item number 31, and it is your net income.
No child, so can I only get 10 sick days and nothing else? 10 sick days per year and nothing else?
So that is correct. If you have no children or no elderly dependents, then that you claim, then you are only eligible for 10 and 10. 10 sick days in 2020 and 10 sick days in 2021.
Sarah had asked, can we go over again how the fees are calculated?
Sure. So the way the fee is calculated is based on 20% of your refund. But let's be clear, it's not 20% of your projected refund, because at the end of day 1, after you've paid the $150 verification fee, we pull your tax returns and we validate the amount of net income that you claimed. So we make sure that when we tell you how much you're going to be getting back as a refund, that is completely accurate.
Terry had asked, I operate under an S corp, and it looks like I filed an 1120S. Does that count?
Unfortunately, if it's not a Schedule SE, 1140S does not qualify. So with that, Again, I want to thank you all so much for participating and spending all this time with us here today. And hopefully we've answered all of your questions. Please jump into the portal, get started, complete the process, get your refund as we have for so many thousands. And we're so happy to be able to help you as well. So thank you all so much.